Hello. First off, I'd like to apologize for being 3 minutes late. That's not like me. I'm sorry.
Hello.
Terrible. Hello, Hank.
Hello.
I think I have to get headphones probably.
Well, hang on. I was pretty good at fixing that problem, but you can.
I'm gonna get headphones. All right, hold on. I'll feel better if I have headphones.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So John's gone. Where is he? I don't recognize that background.
Hello, Sarah's here.
Hi.
Sarah got a haircut.
How are you?
Good. Hi. Good to see you.
John's in my office. So.
Yeah, Sarah. You can go to my office.
Oh.
Hey, Hank.
What's going on? Hi, John. How are you?
Oh, great. I mean, just a little. I had a little bit of a stressful morning. It was World Cultures Day at Henry's school, which it's like a kind of like a talent show. Like kids, the school has kids from all over the world, and so like kids from various countries do various like songs and dances, and it's great, but God, it's long. So yeah, so like that ended, and then I went to work like on writing and stuff, and then it was now. So I'm still just like my head's still a little bit in the writing stuff. How are you doing? What's going on with you?
I'm good. I just spent the whole morning playing with my baby.
Oh, that's good.
Listening to podcasts.
That's good. That sounds nice.
I'm hungry. I figured out a new way to eat, John.
Tell me about it.
I've entered into this new lifestyle where like my life has changed so dramatically that I'm not sure how eating works anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to wake up at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Eat that way.
Yeah.
I knew how to do my day, and now I get up at 6:30, and
Yeah.
my normal eating strategies don't work at all. And so
Yeah.
I'm always a little bit hungry or like over full or really confused, and I'm drinking more coffee because of the waking up and my stomach. It's just like I've thrown my whole thing off.
How your stomach hasn't been great?
What'd you say?
Your stomach hasn't been great?
It's been okay. It's been a little bit worse for the last couple of weeks.
I saw there was a newly there's a new medication, but we could probably talk about that later.
Yeah.
Hank, are you wearing
300 subscribers to the Weekly Ryan now, John?
Oh, we should probably tell people, thank you for coming to the Dear Hank and John Patreon. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And also, if you want to increase the size of your support, you're welcome to do so. And then you can get access to our hot new podcast, This Week in Ryan's, or possibly the Weekly Ryan. We still haven't settled on a name. And it's a 15-minute podcast about Orion. I don't know if we can keep this joke going forever, though, Hank, because we're getting a lot of questions that are like, my name's Ryan. And I'm like, no, it's not, you liar.
Well, or people who are like, my name's Ryan. It really is. I promise. I'm not like, trying to get your attention. I just actually am Ryan.
Or they're like, sorry, I'm not named Ryan. And I'm like, it was a bit. It was a bit that got out of control. And we probably should have closed out the bit earlier.
Now it's forever. It's a forever bit. And I also want to say just a shout out to all my boom booms out there for anybody who was following me on Twitter this morning.
What in the F is that?
You heard about my dream where we were being schooled by some teens on the proper use of Boomerang, social media app. And that they told me that I needed to have a special name for my Boomerang following. And I chose my boom booms. I chose to call my Boomerang following my boom boom. So what's up, my boom booms?
Wait, is Boomerang its own social network?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's not.
Oh, so
I don't. It was in the dream. Like in the dream, it was like it was totally different, and like you needed a special phone to use it. Like you
where
had
do
to
you
have
get
like a special piece of hardware to use the software.
where do you get boomeranging? Where do you boomerang?
Boomerang on Instagram, I think mostly. I don't really know. I don't really understand boomerang at all.
You know,
Like
it's funny, Hank, because the whole reason we got this platform was because we were on the leading edge of technology. Like we understood that YouTube was cool back in like 2006 when lots of people were like, YouTube is just dumb cat videos. We were like, no, YouTube is cool and interesting. And that was our, like, the only really properly good insight you and I have ever had, basically. And now we're so far behind. Here's how far behind I am. I heard about boomeranging at a party hosted for the first time. I'd never heard about it before until I attended a party hosted by Time Magazine, which is a legacy media company.
Yeah, so we are now behind Time Magazine.
A weekly magazine printed on dead trees was how I learned about boomeranging.
Yeah. So but that's okay though. It happens to everyone and we should embrace it.
Yeah. Okay.
Part of what this dream is about.
Absolutely, I agree. Real quickly, I want to get to some questions from our beloved Patreon subscribers, but I also want to say to join the Mad Vendor, aka Ningmaster Tom. Tom, I'm going to try to read your comment in this week's Vlogbrothers video about my signature, but if I don't, I'm sorry. But it was really interesting. So Tom, Hank, has one of an autograph that I wrote in like March of 2005. And so it's like my original signature before the J Scribble was invented. And it doesn't look as different as I remember it, but it does still look pretty different.
It does. It does. I mean, I'm curious if that's part of like the evolution of the signature, if it's like headed on its way to the J Scribble and you like if we caught one of your signatures from college, we would see something that was like, wow, that is some trying very hard that is happening right now.
Right. Oh yeah, no, it's still trying, but my original college signature was trying really much harder. Joseph says, thanks for answering my questions about expensive clothes. I just want to say, Joseph, thank you for, instead of spending $130 on a t-shirt, spending $1 a month on our Patreon.
Yeah, dope. Mustard Fire wants to know if I'm wearing one of the woodcut shirts. I am, and you'll also notice that I'll be wearing it in today's Vlogbrothers video, which I'm about to upload. But I did not film that today.
If you could choose the national dish, what would you choose, Hank?
National dish of America?
Yeah.
Obviously Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Oh, no, I would pick the salad plate.
Or Pop-Tarts? Hot Pockets. Something like that.
It's that middle-sized plate that isn't like the tiny plate for desserts or the big plate for dinner, but it's the middle-sized plate is the American dish.
I would choose the one that they put out on the like at a fancy restaurant and then they take it away before you even use it.
I got this vegan banh mi sandwich that was recommended by Rosianna because I'm trying to eat less meat, and it's got all kinds of junk on it that I don't like the look of, like vegetables.
Sounds great.
It's my biggest issue with vegetarianism. It's just a lot of veggies.
Hey, Greens, do you like olives? Asks Francesca.
Oh, Joseph updates us that he actually donated $5 to get the Ryan podcast. So thank you. Do I like olives? I do not like olives. In fact, olives are a great example to me of a vegetable that is just the worst.
I also hate olives. They taste so bad. I do not understand.
They are really, really gross. And when people are like, oh, like, do you mind if we get olives on the pizza? It's one of the very few toppings where I'm like, in fact, I do mind. I don't want to be a jerk, but I mind.
And I think that it is the only topping that I feel that way about. Like, except for like
mushrooms.
People are going like super nuts and they're like, we're going to put like, the like ghost peppers on it. That's like, no, like you don't put me into pain, but I'm down with any pizza unless it has olives on it.
What's a ghost pepper?
And then all the YouTubers were eating for a while to make to be like, oh, look at the challenge, and now my poop's gonna hurt for the next 8 days. Which, I'm not into.
Well,
do new subscribers get access to Today in Ryan's retroactively? I think they do. I think that's
great
how it
question.
works.
We don't know the answer.
You know the answer for sure, but I think that's how it works. It is a little unfair because then the people who have been subscribing forever are paying the same amount for something that you are getting all of. We understand that the world isn't fair. A number of unfair things.
Also,
the biggest of them.
Presumably, it's not the primary reason Victoria says yes, and she knows. So the primary reason,
yes,
hopefully, why you Patreon subscribe to the podcast is to support Complexly shows, not to actually get This Week in Ryan's, although it is it is arguably the best podcast in the world.
I mean, the reason we're doing it is because hopefully more people will support, and thus we will help fund Complexly shows.
Well, also because
about what Boomerang is.
Passion project, Hank.
It is a passion project, though not nearly as passion as our unrealized Chuck Tingle podcast would be.
Oh my god! Hank and I. You tell the story. You tell the story. I'm eating.
Okay, yeah, seriously. John's like, yeah, I'll be there for the Patreon live stream, no problem, but I will not say anything. You will just watch me consume a vegetarian banh mi sandwich.
I'm sorry.
John and I, during the recording of the last Dear Hank and John, we got on a very long tangent, which lasted like 20 minutes and was extremely inappropriate, which we had to cut from the podcast, where we just reviewed Chuck Tingle books, mostly by their titles and covers.
Have you read it?
If you are over the age of 18 and or comfortable with somewhat you'll find out more about him if you aren't already aware. But we became clear that there was something there, but we don't have time for another thing right now, John.
No, I mean, I would love to have a podcast where we do nothing but review Chuck Tingle books, but we'd have to replace our current podcast.
Yeah, or something else. Something would have to go.
Yeah, something would have to go. Something would have to go.
I gotta say, there aren't a lot of questions in the chat.
Okay, let's answer some questions in the chat.
Very many. They're all about olives.
What should I do for my significant annoyances and my anniversary? We're university students, so we're very poor. Well, first off, I mean, if you're very poor, the first thing you should do is unsubscribe from this Patreon. I don't want to be taking $1 a month from you. I feel bad. Yeah. I like to make food together, and you're probably going to eat anyway. So some version of like making food together, I think, is fun. I actually like making food with someone more than I like eating food with someone, unless it's really good food. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. And and like it can it's also good if you're like, if you make a dessert.
Oh, that's a cute idea. Make a dessert.
Because like if you just make dinner, it's like, oh, we're making dinner. But then also like make some like Bailey's Kahlua mousse, where it's like a drink dessert, and then you're like, this was great. Remember that time we had that Bailey's Kahlua mousse, and it makes it special.
Jamie says, any tips for saving money? I'm trying.
Don't buy a bottle of Bailey's and a bottle of Kahlua because that's expensive. So just maybe make some mousse.
I'm trying to save my own place, but I'm also a big fan of treating myself. What? Why?
Those things are
Sarah just said that question is for Hank to answer because you don't know anything about saving money.
What?
She's not wrong. I mean, you know how like I remember at one point Dad told us that like in a marriage it's good if there's one spender and one saver. Sarah and I did not get any savers in our marriage.
Oh my. What's the question?
Do you have any tips on saving money?
There are well, first of all, treating yourself, you got to look at whether or not you actually are benefiting and like you're getting a long-term benefit from the treat. Because if you're enjoying the treat in the moment and then it just goes away, I don't think there's actually much value there. But there are treats that have lasting value.
What's that?
But more broadly, there are some applications or services that will actually take a percentage of your money out before it even gets to you, so you don't have it to treat yourself with. And I find that those can be very useful, especially if it's new money. Like if you get a raise and you say, okay, I got a raise, but instead of taking that money that I got in that raise, then expanding what I'm buying, taking of that and saying, so I'm going to have a little bit that's going to go to making my life more fun, but also a hunk of that that's going to go directly into a savings account, and I'm not going to touch it because I want to get a house someday. And that's how I'm going to treat myself.
So I think that's good advice. I think that's very good advice. The only thing that I would add, a couple things. First off, if you're like me, you probably have some like monthly payments that you don't know about. Not this Patreon, obviously. Something else, something that's that's not valuable. Like for me, it's like a Boingo wireless subscription that I got one time at an airport, and then like they charged me for like 11 consecutive months. I use there's a bunch of like budgeting apps that you can use. Like Mint.com is probably the most famous and well-liked one. There's also a really cool app called Betterment that's like a passive investment app that also has
Betterment. Did Betterment get created after Mint and they were like, I got a good idea?
I don't know. That's a great question.
But it has that double meaning because you're making your life better, right. But also it's a little bit better than Mint.
I don't know. That's a great question. And I ever since we started using one of those apps, like it's been very good for us in terms of noticing what we're spending money on, and that in turn makes us budget a little bit more effectively. I'm a big fan of Mint. Yeah. Okay.
I've got a really good comment here from Arbos who said, yeah. Chuck Tingle is indeed somewhat risque.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat risque. I mean, most of his books are about like Tyrannosaurus Rexes having sex with billionaire heiresses. So, yeah, I mean, on the like spectrum of like, family friendly to not so family friendly, it is toward the edge.
Yeah. John, will the world ever run out of interesting Ryans?
Boj said this is starting to feel like one of those Korean social eating streams.
Yeah, keep it, John.
Excuse me while I enjoy my banh mi sandwich. Will the world ever run out of interesting Ryans? I mean, yes, but it's going to take way more time than this podcast has left in its right.
Its life. I mean, that's the thing. The world will eventually run out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
There will be no Ryans left to remember that Ryans ever existed.
That's true. Ryans, like all resources, are finite, but there are more Ryans than there are remaining episodes of Dear Hank and John.
Ryans, like all resources, are finite. I want that on a shirt.
Yeah, how's the sandwich? It's good. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I would give it a 6.
So you're just not going to say anything at all?
Sean says, can we get a Venezuela video, please? I've been trying to write a video about Venezuela for like 2 years, actually.
Just keeps getting weird.
It keeps getting harder. And I feel very, I guess I feel underinformed relative to the size of the task, similar to the challenge that Hank had going into that Brazil video, and I just have not been able to do it well yet. This is made more complicated by the fact, to be totally honest, that in our personal life, we have several Venezuelan friends who have some pretty serious disagreements about what's going on in Venezuela, and I don't really want to insert myself into that conversation because I am not an expert in it, and I will be doing that in my personal life if I make that video. So that's part of why I haven't made it.
Mm-hmm. What obscure skill would you want to master instantly? What makes a skill obscure?
Like yo-yoing is obscure.
Okay. Like master, like be the best in the world at? Is that what master means? Or is that
I think it'd be fun to be the best in the world at devil sticks. If you guys don't know what devil sticks are, you can just Google it, but or YouTube it. If I was the best in the world at devil sticks, that'd be pretty cool.
A steel drum playing, is that obscure enough? I would love to be the really great steel drummer.
Right. Noted. Yeah, like your obituary could say like noted YouTuber, entrepreneur, and the world's greatest steel drummer, Hank Green, has died at the age of 142.
It's my favorite possible obituary.
John, what's going to happen with 100 days? Several people have asked. I don't know. I mean, the show is called 100 Days. We don't do enough things that end. So I'm very happy with 100 days, and I'm very happy that it's ended. In personal news, I am running a half marathon very soon.
Oh.
Yeah, I have my final really long, it's a 12-mile training run tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes.
Devil sticks. Oh my gosh. I can't believe you remember those things exist.
Do you have any advice for writing a cover letter, Hank?
Tips for writing a cover letter. Yeah. My tip in general for writing anything is to put your head in, put your brain into the brain of your audience. And so when you're writing a cover letter, think about what the person you are writing to needs, and be that.
Yep, that's a good one. I also would. My only recommendation would be to not try to show off. Be clear. And be confident, but don't try to be like ostentatious, because I feel like that always comes across as a little bit too much and a little bit, So that's when I read cover letters, which I read a fair number of, I'm looking for clarity, confidence, but also a measure of like, I guess, humility.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about confidence is that it's not the same thing as bragging.
Yeah, it's not bravado.
It feels braggy. That's kind of the opposite of confidence. It's like you're trying to show that you, instead, like show, don't tell.
Yep.
Just like any other writing. Favorite useless trivia fact. I got stuck recently in a Wikipedia deep hole. I think I started out with the guy who composed the Looney Tunes theme, that song, and I ended up at the Wikipedia page for a guy whose stage name was Parkiakarkus. Somewhat it just like he wasn't, so he like played a Greek character, but he wasn't Greek, and he just made fun of Greek people, which apparently was a thing that was possible to have a career doing in the 1950s in America. And then during the Great Summit, and he was well liked and everybody respected him. And during the big comedy roast of Desi Arnaz that was televised, it was a huge deal. He just died. He had a heart attack and he died. Several doctors tried to save him, and then they ended the roast early because like this guy had died. And that is a really weird, obscure fact that Wikipedia holds myself into.
That's a great fact. And a good way to
like, and I watched a couple of like the Parkiakarkus's stand-up routines, and they are so offensive and awful.
Right, of course, predictably. My favorite obscure fact is that Renee
is how he died.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, because that's a great death. My favorite fact is Rene Descartes, the philosopher who's very important to me and also to the world for his idea, I think, therefore I am, his idea linking thought and self. He came to that conclusion partly because of / despite of this ineradicable fascination he had with women who had crossed eyes, who suffered from strabismus. Yeah, that's it. That's the fact.
I mean, I feel like that's similar to Nikola Tesla's seeming love affair with pigeons. But did you also know, I recently discovered that Nikola Tesla, dentist.
Well, that doesn't really surprise me. But on the topic of Tesla and pigeons, when you say like, I don't remember what word you used, but it implied that Nikola Tesla did not, in fact, have a deep quasi-romantic love of pigeons. When he did. He truly did.
Yeah, I'm willing to go that. I think asking Hank and John what their favorite useless trivia fact is a dangerous question.
Are you ready? I want to read you. I want to read you a quote from Nikola Tesla about the pigeon in question. It was one particular pigeon.
Okay.
I loved that pigeon as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. As long as I had her, there was a purpose to my life. So,
so that's weird, but it's almost not as weird as his writings on eugenics, in which he says, a century from now, it will no more occur to a normal person to mate with a person eugenically unfit than to marry a habitual criminal.
I have been feeding pigeons, thousands of them for years, but there was one, a beautiful bird, pure white with light gray tips on its wings, and that one was different. It was a female. I had only to wish and call her, and she would come flying to me. I loved that pigeon as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. I mean, Hank.
Man's new sense of pity began to interfere with the ruthless workings of nature. As a result, we continue to keep alive and to breed the unfit.
Oh, God, that is pretty bad. Chris asks, what if Donald Trump was a nerd fighter? Well, Chris, I think if Donald Trump were a nerd fighter, he would be a different kind of president.
And a different kind of person.
Thoughts on North Korea? In the last minute of our live show? I mean,
I'm not comfortable with the situation in North Korea.
I'm also not comfortable with the situation in North Korea. However, Hank, as you know, I've been struggling against the siren call of conspiracy theories recently. I know that conspiracy theories are bad, and I know that I only believe the ones that confirm my pre-existing notions about the nature of the world. However, one of my pet conspiracy theories at the moment is that Russia is funding a lot of the reporting, both on the like radical left and on the radical right, about how war with North Korea is imminent, as a way of destabilizing faith in the political institutions of the United States and the media. And I don't think that's that crazy of a notion, because Russia does fund a lot of the sort of like radical media on both sides, and also like definitely invests in shaping the conversation on outlets like Reddit through vote manipulation and stuff. So I don't think it's a completely crazy conspiracy theory. The regime in North Korea is a very bad regime, and I think very unpredictable, and that's part of what makes it so scary. But I also think it's important to remember that the people who are right now being victimized most by the North Korean regime by a very, very wide margin are the North Korean people. So I don't want to lose track of that in our own set of like fears and anxieties about our relationship with North Korea.
All right. Well, John, we have to end there. It was your choice to ask that question.
I guess it was my choice.
You know,
it was my choice.
They're good thoughts.
Hank, do you have to write every day?
No. What does that mean?
In order to be a writer, do you have to consistently write every single day? I agree. It's okay. You can write when you're ready.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that you have to write you have to write. You maybe aren't ready.
Yep, that's true. You have to write both when you want to and when you don't, but not every day necessarily.
I think that there is a nice psychological trick to be like, okay, I'm going to do this every day. But that's a trick. Like it's just one thing. Like,
yeah.
You could also say I have to write every day, every even day, and that is also a good trick.
Right. I agree. Those are all good tricks. Now we're going to go record the podcast. Thank you for watching/listening, and thank you for contributing to the Patreon and for all your questions. And we'll see you next month. Unless in the meantime you need to drop off the Patreon, which we won't be mad about. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon. DFTBA.
Bye.